Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to the Stream Key podcast. It is Thursday once again, which means it's time for another interview show. Today, I am here with someone that you guys already know very well from our other podcast that we do with him, SnoopHogTV. How's it going today, man? Welcome back to the interview show.
Yeah, thank you. I'm excited. I'm definitely excited. I like my little Mixer logo next to my name under the...
Yeah, I had that in recently. Had to do that. Yeah, cool. So if you guys haven't seen the show before, this is our weekly show here at TRUgaming where we talk with how to level up your game, talk to Twitch streamers and Mixer streamers now about that. And again, this is an interview show, so the first 40 minutes or so will be me and Snoop talking about his move to Mixer. Because he moved to Mixer, when? Do you remember the actual day you moved?
So it was a little wonky. I did it like right in the last week in November because I'm impatient, and then I wanted to visit my parents in Florida for like 6 days in the first week of December. So the reality of it was like the second week of December was the real start date over there for me.
Okay, so a little bit over a month now you've been there, experimenting with the platform. I think this will be cool because it'll be sort of a post-move discussion. So you've had that time where you've been there doing some stuff. We're going to break that down for you guys today and give you some advice on if you're feeling like you should move to Mixer too, if you're curious about it, or just want to get some more insight. This will be a good discussion for you guys. So that'll be the first 40 minutes or so. And the last 20 minutes, you guys can give Q&A questions to Snoop. If you have questions about his move, if you have questions about Mixer streaming in general, we can answer all that stuff for you then. But to start off, let's quickly just reintroduce you for anyone who somehow may not know you from listening. Can you give us kind of a quick refresher on what you stream, how long you've been doing it, what your channel's all about?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm SnoopHogTV. I variety stream on Mixer with a focus on FPS games, but I do throw the occasional story RPG game, and I have a very not so new, but in the last couple months, heavy focus on web shows, which web shows is the equivalent to just chatting over there. I spend at least an hour to an hour and a half of my stream, if not the whole thing, just in web shows, talking and interacting with everybody. But I've been streaming just over a year. I hit a year at the end of December. It would have been a year on Twitch officially for me at that point. And that's pretty much it. I'm doing YouTube videos now, stuff like that. But my content is all America all the time. It's all about expressing and exuding that freedom.
Right, absolutely. That actually was my next question. Where does all the America branding come from? I'm not sure if we touched on exactly why there's so much America. So what's the story there?
So I grew up in a very public service family. You know, my grandfather was a police chief. My father ran the private sector on that end of public service. My brother's in the military, so on and so forth. And I dispatch 911 police, fire, and EMS for a larger city in my town. So we're a very patriotic family, and it's always been something that's in mind. And I wasn't able to serve my country in the capacity like my brother did. So this is my kind of little way to give back and support the patriotism. And it's something you don't see a lot of anymore. People are afraid to, you know, with the current climate of everything, people are afraid that they're going to get, you know, ostracized for, you know, supporting the red, white, and blue. And I rarely find that to be the case. So it was just my way of kind of giving back and thanking the people that have served. Gotcha.
So there's some cool reasons there in terms of your actual family, how you grew up, and then also stuff you believe in. So it's cool to hear like the story behind, because you're really over the top with all the America stuff. But it's cool to hear the story behind all of that, I would say. Very cool.
Yeah, I don't want to turn the lights on, but we can make it even more over the top.
Oh yeah, it's lots of RGB with the 3 colors, right? I guess it would be RBW would be better.
Yes.
Cool. So I usually ask about the person's favorite Twitch stream moment, but you're on Mixer. So in the month or so you've been on Mixer so far, what has sort of been your biggest highlight over there, you would say?
So I read this question in the little pre-roll thing, and I was like, To be honest, I think the most fun I had was I was doing web shows. I was just about to end. It was like 3 a.m. Eastern time or 3:30. And I was just about to end, and I got a host. So I said, I'll stay on for a few minutes and talk. And I was BSing, and I got featured on the front page of Mixer.
Wow.
And it blew up. And I probably sat for another extra 2 hours just welcoming people in, talking to people, you know, meeting new people, stuff like that. And it wasn't like one of those things where you get hosted quick, a bunch of people drop follows and they disappear. We ended up on the front page, which I didn't know about till halfway through when somebody that was coming in said it. Because I was like, I don't know where all these people are coming from, but whatever. I was like, this is working out. And it was consistently, the viewership was going up and up, but it was staying there. And so was the chat interaction.
Interesting.
So that was a really nice thing to see. Like, so obviously the follow number was going up, stuff like that. But I have people that came in from that feature that come into my stream almost every night now.
Wow, that's really cool. Do you know how you got chosen for that at all?
So from what I understand, Mixer has their featured slot. So much like Twitch, when you open it up, there's like that cogwheel that Twitch copied. And there's essentially 5 people on that main thing, and they email their partners and say, hey, we're going to throw you a host from these hours to these hours. Do you want it? And they accept. Now, if one of them ends early and says, oh, I had a 4-hour host, but I got to go after 3, the algorithm will pick up somebody with, that is essentially gaining traction on the platform. Normally it's a newer streamer or somebody who's, follow and view numbers and stuff all coincide to growth, and they will throw them up on the front page. I know people like Jim Watts have ended up over there on the front page recently. Pixelate Tori, who's his girlfriend, ended up there. So it's a pretty cool feature that if somebody who had a guaranteed feature from Mixer as a partner ends early, instead of just leaving the slot open or an offline page, they'll just throw another streamer in there. Yeah,
that's really cool. I don't know that there's ever a chance even can be on the front page of Twitch without knowing ahead of time. So that's pretty cool to hear that they're doing that for, I guess it's just any streamer, but there's some sort of algorithm that maybe like up and coming streamers or something.
Yeah, I mean, they have so Twitch just added that smaller community section, and Mixer has something that they call up and coming. And it's the same kind of concept. It rotates through, smaller communities that are on the growth path and stuff like that. I don't know how the algorithm works specifically, but, I've been on there a few times. I've ended up on the front page part of that a few times. So it's definitely helped. It's a discoverability tool that I think Twitch kind of lacks. And they're trying to make up with the smaller communities. And I think, I watched the outrage over the title of it. And yes, everybody hates the hashtag small streamers, but that's because it was abused. It's not because of what it means. You're a smaller streamer. There's no, yes, you're up and coming. Yes, you're growing. Fine. But at the end of the day, you're a smaller streamer. And Twitch is giving you a tool to be exposed to more people. So people should just say thanks and go out with their day, because it's a big move for Twitch, because they normally don't care.
Yeah, we talked a lot about that on the last Friday episode. That was quite a bit of debate around that topic. But well, let's kind of unpack your move to Mixer a bit more then. So starting off, and I know you've talked about this on the podcast before, I'm going to have to ask you to rehash it out here.
That's fine.
But what were the big reasons that you decided to move to Mixer in the first place?
So one of my biggest reasons was Professor Broman. So for those of you that don't know, Professor Broman kind of does a podcast like this, but he tends to take questions about streaming, but he's very, very blunt about everything. And what he says to people all the time when they come in there and they're like, hey, you get people like I was. I'm at, 1,400 followers. I'm at 30, 40 viewers, and I'm just not moving. I'm just stagnant. And he will say, why are you still on Twitch? Why haven't you made that move to Mixer or Facebook? You've been doing this for a year. You're in this platform. Yes, you're growing, but you're not growing at a decent rate. You're not growing at a rate where it's going to put you at the top of the tier within the next 2 years. It's going to maybe, if it ever happens, take you 10. When you can go to these platforms that are not saturated due to an affiliate program like Mixer, like Facebook, and you can start to stream now and have more of an opportunity as you network. It's still small enough where people are going to be able to recognize your name when you come into a chat and stuff like that. But it's large enough to where there's an audience to be able to be grabbed. Your content can still be unique. You can still be first to content over there. So that was a huge first stepping stone. And then I looked at Mixer Season 2 and what the platform was doing for content creators and viewers as a whole. And to explain that a little bit is they're very focused on content and community. They implemented a site-wide currency to reward viewers for just spending their time with streamers. And in turn, you can use that site-wide currency to support streamers and support them financially without actually spending anything other than your time in the streams. They're also implementing, like, chat gave a VIP system, or Twitch rather gave a VIP system. Mixer is implementing a level up system essentially for chat. So the more time you spend in someone's chat, you can earn ranks, just like that we've done with chatbots for years.
Right.
And then people can also, like, if you're a big supporter of the stream and somebody drops a ton of, you know, donations or host or whatever, people in the chat can actually applaud that person and be like, oh, good job, almost like a like on Facebook, and it will boost that person's level and make them level up even faster than they were before. So it's just another fun way site-wide that they've added, you know, reward for just being a viewer, sitting in a stream and watching. And a lot of people will compare that to bits on Twitch. Oh, well, you know, I can watch ads and support a streamer that way. My thing is, you're watching ads. You're not watching the streamer. You're not spending that time with them. You're spending your time watching ads when you could be watching the content of the person you're there to support.
Right.
So I thought that was a really cool thing. And they're just implementing so many more things on a regular basis. And the FTL is insane. And people, until they come over there, they don't realize what a true no delay stream is. Because even Twitch has improved leaps and bounds from when I started viewing here and stuff like that. Even when I started streaming, you know, you've gone from a 10-second delay to a 1 to 2 second delay. On Mixer, there's literally no delay.
Yeah, it's really fast.
Crazy. I can pull up my stream, like, on my computer during my intro, and my intro is, the audio is, like, literally almost synced to where the video is on my stream as I'm watching it. So it's just, a lot of it was features, and a lot of it is, it's so community based and so honed in on content creation, and community is amazing over there.
Okay, so a lot of different pieces there to why you decided to. One being like the added features that they're doing, and just the frequency of adding new features, like the sparks and embers, and the passive way people can reward your stream if they don't, you know, spend money on you, they can still support you. And then also, it sounds like you were kind of in that boat that Broman was talking about, where you've been streaming for a while and you feel like you're kind of hit a wall, sort of, where you couldn't really push through anymore. Really interesting that you decided to do that. What do you think was like the biggest reason, if you had to pick one reason that you moved to Mixer? Because you mentioned a lot there, but is there like a core reason?
My biggest reason was the chance to grow with the platform, the chance to position myself to be someone like a Summit or a Co-Carnage, or guys that got in on Twitch when Twitch first started and started to pick up and get the ball rolling. Or even like a guy like Tim the Tatman, who came in a year or two later and he slowly started to grow, and now you're a staple and you grew with the platform, and you're in Times Square for New Year's Eve. It's crazy. And I get like, oh, it's Fortnite and because Ninja was there, whatever. But all of these guys are at, you know, enormous numbers. They're a face of a brand. And the opportunity to bring something unique over there and possibly grow with a platform to that level is incredible. And that opportunity is, unless you are the most unique person in the world, where you've come out with something nobody's ever seen, but they want, kind of like a Dr. Disrespect, you're the first one to do it, then the likelihood of you reaching that kind of level or even close to that level on this platform is slim to none. Yeah,
I like that a lot, actually. It's almost like you have two options there. One is to stay on Twitch with like a decent following and kind of be, you know, maybe you hit some following over time, but you're never going to hit that top level, right? Whereas moving to Mixer, it's a gamble, but there is a chance there that you break through and really push through that next highest level of streamer. So I definitely respect that you kind of took that initiative and risk and decided to jump over there, because it is kind of unpredictable still. I mean, you know, Twitch is sort of the more stable platform, I would argue, just because of history. But Mixer definitely, I would agree with you, has more potential to put you at that top streamer position if you want to get there. So yeah, it's pretty interesting.
And I mean, Microsoft is doubling down on Mixer right now too. So again, to have Microsoft as a back, you know, it's one of 3 biggest tech companies in the world. And they are doubling down on it. They are just now pushing advertisements. Right at the end of Q4, they actually started to push advertisements onto YouTube and stuff like that. Prior to that, unless you had an Xbox or knew somebody that streamed over there or listened to these certain podcasts, you didn't even know. People don't know Mixer exists. People don't know there's an alternative to Twitch. And the really cool thing with Mixer doubling down like that is they've seen exponential growth without any kind of advertisement, any kind of pushing the platform other than pushing it to your desktop on Windows updates and your Xbox. You know, you're not getting pushed like you are Twitch. Everywhere you turn now, you see Twitch. Twitch is it. And people know Twitch. Twitch is the place you go to watch people play video games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely agree.
Hopefully they can push that brand out more.
Yeah, they're starting to do that for sure. And I think even just educating the audience about the fact they exist will be a big boost to their numbers. So I'm curious to see if they keep doing that. Okay, so 1 month later now, or a little bit more than a month, you've been on this platform. Since you initially moved to Mixer, and now you're looking a month later, have your feelings kind of changed on the platform, or how's it looking so far?
If anything, to be completely honest, and I'm not just saying it because I'm over there, it has only made me appreciate and enjoy the platform more. So when I first made this decision, I was very quiet about it, but I also spent a month as a viewer over there, getting to know people, talking to people in streams. And the one thing I found over there is that the community is so incredibly welcoming as a whole. And I'm talking from your #1 streamer, the guy Syph, who's at 300 and something thousand followers, and he is at the top of the top, thousands of viewers. I can literally go into his chat. He still recognizes me by name and will talk, have a conversation. You know, it's not, oh, you know, I got to drop a donation to talk to this guy. And grant you, they're not at 10,000, 15, 20,000 viewers where your chat is constant. But at 1,500 viewers, your chat's moving. And Mixer doesn't have the spam delay like Twitch does. So you type that message too fast, one after the other. There is none of that. So that chat can fly. Well, it adds a really cool end of content because you can spam emotes when things are happening and stuff like that. And the chat is like watching those react videos of Twitch on YouTube after the fact with the chat over to the side. If you were able to do that, or if somebody did that with Mixer, it's so cool to watch how fast the chat can move. And if they time it right and you have a good amount of mods, you can almost make like a wave in the chat of emotes. There's a lot of cool potential with it. But the whole point is that I found that the community is just, it's better every time you're over there. And people are more willing to check you out. I have people following my channel that are in the top 6 of the platform. You know, and that is just from going in and having genuine, real conversations and asking about what they think about moving from, you know, Twitch to Mixer, or how they feel about variety streaming over there in comparison to just playing Fortnite. Because again, it's just like Twitch. Fortnite's a heavy draw, but you are seeing, just like you're seeing on Twitch right now, you're seeing a change to Sea of Thieves. You're seeing a change to, you know, people going back to PUBG or Call of Duty. People just kind of drifting away from Fortnite. But overall, I have absolutely no complaints. Growth has been amazing. It's astonishing. If I grew this fast on Twitch in my first month and a half, it'd be insane. If I was able to hit the average viewers that I was hitting in the first 2 months, I would have been affiliated in my first week. You know, so it's, and grant you, some people have come over that were, you know, my community from Twitch, but I have a lot of very, very new people, not only in my, you know, my stream, but in my Discord and stuff like that. Very active parts. It's very, very, very community based.
That's awesome. Has it been pretty constant, steady growth since you've joined? Have there been any, you know, plateaus since you've been over there at all?
I think I've only had 1 or 2 streams where I maybe haven't gotten any followers or any new viewers. But for the most part, it's pretty steady. Obviously, the night we ended up on the front page, it was crazy. We jumped like 100 follows that night. And a lot of those people have been back. And my average, it's going up every time I stream. You know, it's not dramatic. It's not like it was on Twitch. I'm not sitting at 30, 40 viewers on average. But in comparison, I look at it as the beginning of Twitch, or, you know, that's how I try to look. I try to compare my average viewership now. Essentially, if I was to break it down in the whole grand scheme of things, math-wise, I believe that at my current viewership, it's like anywhere from 15 to 20 on average. I would be on Twitch probably at 100 to 150. If you wanted to compare the two, because I sit most of the time, unless it's a heavily saturated game like, you know, Call of Duty or something like that, I sit in the top 2 rows of the category most of the time on whatever I'm doing.
Right. And you've only been there for a month, right? Compared to about a year or so on Twitch almost?
Just a little bit over a month.
Okay. Yeah.
Now, mind you, I have the advantage of also bringing a year of experience doing streaming and figuring out what works and what doesn't, you know, and I started with a year of knowledge ahead of time, essentially, which is nice.
Right. Yeah. So actually tied into that, I'm sure you tried to bring over at least some of your community from Twitch to Mixer. And that's a common question that we hear a lot about. I know you've talked about how was that process for you? Were you able to move people from Twitch to Mixer, or did it not really matter to you if they moved or not?
I don't want to say it didn't matter. I wasn't going to let it influence my decision. I did have some community members that decided to move over, and they created accounts and they came and checked it out. And a lot of them, there's still that stigma. It's an Xbox platform. You can only play Fortnite. You can only stream from your Xbox. PC streamers don't work over there. You know, and that stigma is stuck from when they very first took over, when it was Beam and they took over and Microsoft bought it. I handled it a little poorly. I'll be the first to admit that, but I'll give you the reason why. It's a pretty simple one, but not that I let things influence my decision usually, but obviously I care what the community thinks. I spent a year, you know, getting to know these people and becoming friends with some of these people and stuff like that. So obviously I don't want them to feel like they're abandoned, but at the same time, I didn't want to put doubt in my head about this. I had such a gut feeling about making this move that it was something that I had to do. That, like, I would regret it if I didn't do it, and I knew it. But I didn't want people to come in and be like, oh, you're crazy. What are you doing? There's no way I'm going over there. So literally on my last stream on Twitch, I was like, hey, we're moving to Mixer. We talked about it for 4 hours. And then I was like, next time I'm live, I'll be on Mixer.
So
and obviously I tweeted it out and Discorded it after the fact and grew that way. But I kind of dropped a bomb and was like, good luck. And walked, because I didn't want people to be like, there's no way I'm coming over there. You're crazy. You're going to fail. You're an idiot. I needed that buffer for me to be able to do it. Not that you let people influence your decision, and you never should, but if enough people tell you you're stupid, you might question it a little bit.
Yeah. So I definitely respect the decision to do that and to really stick to your gut and not people talk you down from something that you've already decided you're going to do. But how, so you said you could have handled it better. What would you have done differently looking back?
I could have kind of given like a better heads up and more of an opportunity for discourse on Twitch with the Twitch community that may never make their way over, because it would have given people more of an opportunity to, at least for me to reach them and explain why and explain the features and get across the point that it's not just a Discord or not just an Xbox platform and that kind of stuff. But at the same time, I think I would have made the move either way. Like, we started that stream and I was on the fence, and I actually convinced somebody who was trying to convince me that it was a bad idea to actually try out Mixer by the end of it. Because it's just that automatic stigma. People are comfortable here. People bleed purple. It is very cultish sometimes over here. People have this fantasized love for Twitch that Twitch doesn't have for them, and they don't realize it.
Yeah.
I've been on Twitch for 7 years as a viewer. I've only streamed for a year. So of course Twitch was the first place I wanted to start, because I just, you know, Twitch was everything. Twitch was streaming. Nothing else could compare to Twitch. Nothing could compare to the community over here. Everybody's amazing. And then I went on Mixer, and 7 years worth of an opinion completely changed. Now, Twitch, I still view on Twitch. I still enjoy Twitch. I'm still part of a lot of communities on Twitch, and I made a lot of friends over here. And I owe Twitch a lot. But Twitch is not the only game in town. And people need to get this romanticized feeling out of their head about the platform if they truly want to try to grow right now.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think there's the whole Twitch culture of people just loving everything Twitch does and kind of not wanting to check out other things, or they're just stick with what they're used to. I think it's the same kind of thing with even like consoles. People just kind of start to, you know, PC Master Race, Xbox, whatever. People like to stick to what they know. I definitely think people should check out other streaming platforms, not just Mixer, more if they're looking to start. So I definitely agree with that. But so moving your community, again, I think that's something people ask about a lot. So it's good to hear kind of some tips on that. Maybe don't just kind of do it at the last minute and not let your community know about it ahead of time, like Snoop.
Yeah, but, it can definitely be handled better, for sure.
But I think it's a good example of, you know, people will, usually at least a couple people will move with you, but at the end of the day, you're still kind of building a new community in a sense because it's on a different platform. So that's something that you're gonna have to work through if you want to move to Mixer or any other streaming platform off of Twitch. Okay, so let's talk about actually segueing there for all the people who are considering Mixer, because you've actually, I'll talk about this later, but you kind of started this mini revolution of your own of people moving to Mixer since you announced this. So what kind of tips do you give? Yeah, people in the chat right now, even like Lit and a few others. So what are some tips that you give people when they're looking to move to Mixer that they should know ahead of time, you think?
I mean, bots, the bot thing was a nightmare. So Streamlabs chatbot works on Mixer, but all of your, I forget what they call, but like the predefined commands for like users or target user, you know, for like shout outs, stuff like that, they're different on Mixer than they are on Twitch. So yeah, I'll find it great. I can bring my bot over and I can bring my commands, but they don't work. And me, in my haste of, you know, my biggest problem is I'm like a child. I get my mindset on something and that's all I think about. It's all I want to do. So I was like, I need to stream on Mixer. I need to get on Mixer right now. I need to do it. I need to do it. I need to do it. And it's just one of those things where I was like, all right, we're just going to go live. And then I was getting like, I would shout people out and I would get like user 3252554 whatever. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, I look like an idiot. Or like somebody would do like one of my commands to link something and like the internal bot would ban my link. And I was like, what the hell? It was a mess. So I will say, prepare yourself a little better than I did. I will give credit to Cass, or Miss Fatal Kisses. She spent a month of preparation behind the scenes before she made the transition. Where I spent a month as a viewer, she spent a month actually doing the right thing and setting shit up. I slacked so hard on that. But yeah, just get your bot stuff and network. Networking is, so where it's important on Twitch, it is exponentially more important over there because it is such a smaller, tight-knit community that it is noticed if you're somebody that, and network properly, make real connections. Don't go in and be like, hey, I'm coming over from Twitch. Hey, what's up? And that's it. And just kind of, because people take notice and people will call you out over there. That is one thing. They're very blunt over there, especially at the top of the top. You know, it's not this, they don't pander and they don't placate for subs and views. They'll be very honest. There's a guy, Jared FPS. He's like the third most followed person over there. So third biggest channel. And he gets people in there, like me and Cass were talking about this last night, who will have like numbers in their names, or they won't have a profile picture yet, because in chat, you have your profile picture next to your name on Mixer. And he'll be like, they'll come in and start saying something or asking him questions about like advice on starting the stream. And he'll be like, I'm not even talking to you until you set up a profile picture. He's like, there's no reason for you not to have a profile picture. He's like, it's one of the easiest things to set up here. And if you want to stream here and you don't have a profile picture, why are you even trying? He's like, you're not trying. You're not making an effort. So go set up a profile picture and then we can talk.
Yeah,
and while he's helping them, he's very blunt about it, you know. I'm not going to sit here and tell you, oh, you know, you should really just make content and hopefully we make you feel good and you follow my channel.
Right. No, that's one of the cool things that you mentioned earlier, is that it seems like you have more access to higher streamers when you're trying to network, or maybe just they're more receptive to talking with other people that I think you wouldn't see on Twitch. So taking advantage of that is definitely something you should look at, and not you know, not just like a cheese method of, you know, go top to top streamers to grow your stream, but actually just making those connections can really help you out to build more presence on the platform long term. So I definitely see the value there. And then the bot thing is not what I expected to hear, but I guess kind of do your homework a little bit on all the stuff. Set up your profile, I guess, on Mixer to look like you're actually a streamer on Mixer and not someone who just kind of jerry-rigged everything over from Twitch to Mixer, is what it sounds like.
There's definitely a lot of different setups, and there's different bots. To be honest with you, I don't even use Streamlabs chatbot anymore. They have a specific one for Mixer, but then they also have that MixPlay bot that ties into your stream, which are essentially buttons that you can click to have things happen on stream. And those are absolutely life-changing, incredible, because for those of you that have watched my stream over here, I had GIF commands in the chat. So you do exclamation point, like Lude, for example, and the little anime girl would come up on the screen or whatever. Now it's all built in through this bot, so I don't have to go through custom scripts and all this. It's literally, I load the video into the bot has a command for it, there's a button for it, they click the button, it plays on an overlay on the screen. And it's great. It takes a lot to set up, and it takes a lot to figure out. I spent hours setting up my mixplay bot and getting everything polished and stuff like that. So there's a lot of, with new features, there's a lot of learning. Stuff that I didn't really even think about when I first started viewing. I'd see the mixplay stuff and I would use it, but I had no idea what it was. I just thought maybe it was something I set up when I set up my account or started streaming or something like that. I didn't realize how much went into it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a whole new platform to learn, essentially, right? So definitely will take some time to get used to it. So that's kind of a good topic too. Are there any other types of content that you've been able to do with Mixer that you couldn't have done with Twitch?
I think what I'm talking about with the Mixplay board has added a lot of content, and there's a lot of interesting ways to use it. And there's so much more customizable things because of the way it connects to the API. But I mean, I don't think that there's anything over there that I couldn't do here other than the co-streaming. The co-streaming is awesome. And it mixes. So like 4 of us played Sea of Thieves not too long ago. Me, Jim Watts, and a few other people. Stoopler came from over here, and then a partner from Mixer. So we all got together, we all played, and it shows the 4 screens. It's all in one page. It's the 4 screens on your page of the different points of view. The chat is completely combined. So there's no... The only time it gets confusing is somebody's asking a specific question. Because you need to be like, all right, who are you asking that question? But other than that, it's fine. That bot commands get really funny because if everybody has the same like SO for shout out, everybody's stream shouts out whoever it is. It's pretty funny to see the bot spam in that sense. But at the bottom, it allows you to click through the 4 people. It shows all their icons, and that's how you pull up their mixplay board specifically. When you pull up the thing to give like sparks or skills and stuff like that, it shows you which person it's going to go to. So it's very intuitive for the user. And they make co-streaming very simplified in that sense. It's not like a project to use a separate website, or even like what they're talking about doing here with squads, is that you're going to have to, the chats aren't going to be linked, and you're going to be clicking between the videos to make the primary focus, stuff like that.
Yeah, that's a really cool feature that I'm excited to see how they roll it out on Twitch eventually, but Mixer's had it forever. So they're definitely probably further along on knowing how to do it right. And I think just the theme that I hear with Mixer in general is more interactivity with the chat. And I think that's really undervalued in terms of how to grow a stream. I mean, there's so many games out there. I did my tier list recently, and games crop up on like the best growth games, like Marbles on stream, Gary's Mod, things that people can actually interact with the chat and drive it really increases people's connection to a stream. So having like built-in features like the leveling system and being able to support people just by watching and clicking buttons. Those are all really good viewer features, which I know we've talked about before. A lot of the Twitch stuff that they roll out is focused on serving the streamer, whereas it seems like a lot of Mixer things are served for the viewer more than the streamer. So I think that's really important, and I hope for my sake Twitch does that more in the future, but it's good to hear that Mixer is doing a lot of that, and I think hopefully people will learn from that for other streaming companies. So
yeah,
very cool.
I mean, the competition is definitely great, and obviously everybody copies everybody. So whether it be certain features or whatever, it's the way of the game. It's like any other big company or stuff out there. It's why all cars look the same after a certain year, and everything else. Everything's it was boxy for 10 years. Now every car is sleek. There's not much uniqueness in it because it's what's selling. So everybody adapts to that.
Right.
And
absolutely.
I think the same kind of goes with the streaming stuff and the platform stuff. I think the one really, really cool thing, like you mentioned, the chat interactivity, the Mixplay board, you actually have the ability to set keys to actually physically hit keys on your keyboard and do things on your stream. So essentially, if you really wanted to get that in depth with it, you could literally allow chat to control a game.
That's pretty cool.
And they have games over there specific just to the platform that are essentially just chat run games, just like when Twitch does Twitch plays
Right.
Pokemon or whatever, stuff like that. But it's just a constant thing over there, which I thought was pretty cool as well.
Yeah, that is really cool, actually. Okay, last question on Mixer here. This interview's been flying. So the future of Mixer, we talked a little bit about this earlier, but what do you kind of think is the future of Mixer? Will it continue growing, and do you think it'll ever reach Twitch's size? Thoughts on that?
I definitely think it's going to continue growing. I think that the Streamlabs Q4 report that they recently released, which showed that Mixer's viewership has grown this year in 195%, which is enormously huge. And grant you, it's still, I think it was just shy of 30,000, consistent viewers on the platform, which obviously compared to Twitch is a dwarf number. It's nothing in comparison. But at the end of the day, this is a 2-year-old platform, not even 2 years old, compared to Twitch, which has 7 years, 8 years in the bag and the foothold on the national platform right now.
Mm.
Twitch is also in that interesting position where they're the front focused and center. So a big enough flop or a big enough issue could also really, really hurt.
That's true.
Where Mixer can try to implement things, and if it fails or if it's controversial or anything like that, it might get talked about a little bit, but it's kind of just going to go by the wayside, and people are going to be like, oh, remember when Mixer did that? And that'll be the conversation, where if it's not like Facebook where, oh, remember when Facebook leaked all your privacy information? People still are up in arms about that. And grant you that, don't let that shy you away from streaming on Facebook. Telling you. They're still
using Facebook, though. That's the thing.
Absolutely. So my thing with Mixer is I'm excited for the growth. I think that the future is very bright. They've only implemented maybe a quarter of the features that they've talked about in their season 2 update. So more and more things are coming, and they're coming out consistently and quickly. Like Embers, they talked about Embers in that season 2 update, and they said they were going to implement them after Sparks. So they implemented Sparks, and about a month and a half later, they implemented Embers, and now Embers are live across the platform. So I think you're going to start to see that chat level up system get implemented pretty quickly. And I don't know if Mixer will ever be the size of Twitch. It's kind of hard. It's hard to say, one, to predict that, but two, it's hard. You're playing catch up always. So while you grow, Twitch is going to grow, of course. And while this becomes more of a mainstream type of media, you end up in that thing where you're kind of, you're going to be playing catch up, and you're hoping for the best, and you hope for Twitch to fumble so that you can succeed in that. And that, I guarantee you, that has some of the growth, or some of Mixer's growth has come from situations where Twitch had issues, or Twitch dropped the ball, and you saw the social media outrage and stuff like that. So I'm sure that has pushed some people over. I've talked to people who have made the change over to Mixer, who have quote unquote followed my revolution over to Mixer, and that was a lot of their reasoning behind it. By the way, just the quick side note on that was never my intention. I didn't expect a single person to follow me, let alone take me as the inspiration. The only other thing this whole change has made me realize is that I have some sort of influence that I didn't think I had, and it made me more conscious of things I do.
Right, absolutely. That was actually going to be one of my bonus questions, was talking about how that whole revolution. It's funny that, your community is the revolution, and you actually caused a revolution. But we'll talk about that in just a second. But I do want to mention, like you said earlier, one of the cool things, if you guys go check out the Streamlabs report for streaming in the last quarter, I think it got released like last week or so, 2 weeks maybe. Mixer is really unique in the sense that the viewers are still rising a lot over the last quarter, but the streamers have leveled off. So the demand for content is going up and up and up and up on Mixer, and then there's no more streamers on Mixer. So that just means that naturally everyone's viewer count are going to rise on Mixer. So that's a pretty cool feature, and I mean, I love data stuff, so you can't argue with that. Cool. So last question for you before we kind of move into the Q&A. If you give one piece of advice to a brand new Mixer streamer, what would you tell them, and why?
I mean, to be honest with you, the advice is the same across the platforms, in my opinion. It's you need to make connections, genuine connections. Go find streams that you actually enjoy watching, content that you actually enjoy watching. They're playing games that you play, and become part of those communities. Don't just go in there and say, oh, hey, how are you doing? Oh, I stream this game too, and da-da-da, and that's it. Go in there, meet the people, talk to the people. genuinely make those connections. There's a mod on Mixer who has never streamed a day in her life, and she has 1,800 followers because
Jeez.
how involved she's in so many communities. It works. People like to socialize with other people, and people like to support the people that they become friendly with and socialize with every day. People hear that, 4 months of somebody being in my chat, and it's happened on Twitch, and I'm sure it'll happen on Mixer. 4 or 5 months of being in my chat, and then somebody will be like, hey, I really, really want to, try out streaming. What do you think? Absolutely, you should try it out, whatever. And that person will start their stream with 60 followers and 4 or 5 viewers, because they've become so ingrained in the community. They've hung out, they've talked, they've gotten to know people, that people want to support that person.
Absolutely.
So that's the best piece of advice, whether you're on Mixer, Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, the DLive decentralized cryptocurrency streaming thing that's popping up now, just all that stuff. Just network with people.
Absolutely. It's so underrated. And you see the opposite a lot too, where people, instead of networking, like you mentioned, the mod who never streams but is always talking to people, and then you have the opposite, which is people who only stream all the time but never actually go at the other channels and network, and they have less viewers than the person who never streams. So it just goes to show you how powerful networking is and really going to build really good relationships. Cool, but that is the last question for the one-on-one. So let's jump into the chat Q&A. If you guys have questions for Snoop about his move to Mixer or about anything else related to streaming in general, just tag @TRUgaming in the chat and we can get into those. The first one I saw was from Levine. Maybe I said that right, hopefully. Basically says, why Mixer over YouTube gaming or Facebook gaming?
I enjoyed the features on Mixer more than I did on Facebook. And YouTube gaming, I think so where data is great, I think data can also be skewed without context. YouTube gaming is the second largest live streaming platform out there right now. And it's not that it's close to Twitch. It's got a pretty big chunk of the pie. The thing with YouTube gaming, what they don't tell you is that those numbers are so high and bolstered because their main platform forward people, like their version of Ninja, your Vanos Gaming or your Mini Lad, those kind of people that make YouTube content all the time and have millions and millions of subscribers are going live. So of course they're going to have huge view numbers. Yep. These are people that fiend for a video to go live. Now I can catch you and interact with you. Of course your numbers are going to be huge. So I think YouTube is kind of skewed. And again, I don't have the hard data facts in front of me, but if I had to take an educated guess, that's why YouTube is so big. And that's why I didn't go over to YouTube for streaming. As for Facebook, Facebook is a great platform to get in on right now because it's so new and everything is so feature heavy. Like they just released their Level Up program, which is their version of an affiliate program. The thing with that though, and where people are like, oh, affiliate program, you talk about affiliates on Twitch and how it's a nightmare and how it's saturated the platform. The difference is Facebook is growing with that already in place. Twitch implemented that after 5 years of having a standard, and then they flipped the script on everybody and essentially, in my opinion, killed the middle class of Twitch. Any partner who was averaging 100 or 200 viewers took such an enormous hit because now everybody could support their friends financially. Why wouldn't they? And everybody's friends started streaming because, hey, I can get 3 viewers and pay for my video games this month. So
it's true.
I mean, that's my thing with Facebook is I think it'll be good in the long run if you're willing to stick it out, because at the end of the day, Facebook has over 1 billion users. And it's the only platform out right now that has targeted ways to promote your stream through advertisement built into the platform.
I actually don't know that. That's really interesting.
So like those Facebook ads, those Facebook promotes, you'll see them on Instagram and stuff like that sometimes. But
so you can do that directly with your profile, your page, or your stream.
Exactly.
Huh, that's really interesting.
They're going to bolster your content more, whether they admit it or not, because it's on Facebook, than they would if I put my Mixer content on there and tried to promote it that way.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I definitely agree with a lot of your reasoning there. My biggest issue is just real quickly with YouTube and Facebook is that I still think they're trying to do too much at once. YouTube less so, but especially Facebook with how much stuff they have going on. I personally just like having a platform that's for that thing that, you go to Twitch, you're going to watch streams, but you go to Facebook, well, you can go look at your friend's profile, or you can go buy a chair, or you can go watch something. There's so much going on. YouTube's a little bit less, but still, like, you can go watch a vlog or you can go watch a live stream. And I think having that like simplicity of knowing what a platform does helps a lot with just having loyal people who want to watch you, who are there to watch stuff, you know, versus other stuff. So good question.
I will say the only other cool Facebook feature that I think is really, really awesome, and it's automatically done by them, is, so like, let's say you're watching a cat video on Facebook or whatever, or a top-down cooking video, and now you watch the next video that comes up. At some point in that algorithm, I forget how many videos, it eventually brings you to a live feed. It pushes live content into your rolling video.
Interesting.
And that's an opportunity for natural growth and discovery that you're not making any efforts towards. So
Good
that's
point,
a pretty
though.
cool feature they have.
Yeah, and there's some cool connections with Instagram too, so I think that's worth mentioning. Okay, next question is from Memory Card. It says, my question is that I've seen all sorts of cool options as far as monetization goes on Mixer. How does it compare to Twitch?
I mean, again, I'm not a partner, so I don't have access to all or any of the monetization, actually. But they just implemented Embers, which are essentially bits. It's the same thing. It's a premium currency. You pay for it, and you get the equivalent of it. So if I get 500 Embers, it's $5. Your subs are the same over there. It's just one tier of sub. They're $1 more, which I always thought was interesting. I don't know why they are that way. And I don't know what the split is. I personally, from the way it reads, and again, I haven't seen a partner contract, it actually sounds like it's individually subjective on how they do their splits. So depending on your content, your size, your growth, what you can do for the platform, you might be able to achieve more. Or it could be set up just like Twitch, where the standard partner is the 50-50 for tier 1, and then premium partner, which is essentially anybody over 10,000 viewer average on Twitch, can apply for premium partner, which is the 70-30 split. The Sparks is the coolest thing, though, because the Sparks, if you're smart about how you use your mixed play board and stuff like that, you can really bolster your Spark numbers every week, and they reset weekly. So there's different tiers and you hit different milestones, and payouts range from, I think, like $60 at the minimum to, I don't know what comes after 100 million Sparks at 900, but it even goes higher.
Wow.
And that is a weekly payout in monetization that doesn't cost your viewer a thing. Your viewer, all they have to do is watch streams, and I will tell you that people farm Sparks. I'm one that does it. I'll leave channel 1 up on my computer and go to work. And I come home and I have 100,000 Sparks that I can go give to whatever partner streamer I want. And the back and forth with the Sparks real quick is, you'll see a lot of people saying, oh, well, you shouldn't use it on affiliates. Force a habit. You shouldn't use it on streamers that aren't partnered because it doesn't benefit them and it's a waste. Even the partners will tell you the Sparks are meant to be there for fun. And that's what they were before they ended up monetized. So use them where you want, use them where you see fit. I encourage people to go use them on partnered streamers they enjoy, because it's a way to just support them financially. And it doesn't do anything for me other than show my booty video on the screen. So, you know.
So really quickly, a couple questions from the chat. Can you kind of explain Sparks a bit more, people who don't know how that whole system works?
Sure. So Sparks are a site-wide currency, kind of like if you go into any channel with a decent bot who has set up their channel, they have, I had bonds for points that you earn that you could redeem in stream, or, TRUgaming had recently with the PC stream, I forgot what we named it that time. Memes. Yeah. So you collected memes. So it's essentially like that, except it's a site every single channel. For a sub benefit, if you subscribe to a channel, you earn 2 times the Sparks while viewing that channel. If you are on channel 1, which features a new partner every 15 minutes on Mixer, you earn 2 times the Sparks. With all of that, you're able to then use those Sparks to do different things, like they call them skills. So in the chat, you can put a cool sticker in the chat, or you can put what they call an effect, which they just added one that's like a care package. It's pretty cool. It drops from the top of the chat window. It's a little parachute with a box underneath it, and it falls to the bottom of the chat. Or you can do the whales that go across the chat, and they're always updating it. They're always adding new stickers and stuff like that. They added ones for Christmas, Thanksgiving, all that kind of stuff. And it's just a constant update on their part, which is really cool. But it's a neat way for you to support a streamer without spending anything other than your most valuable currency, which is your time. You know, and how many times people say, oh, I wish I could sub, but I don't have the money, or I wish I could donate, stuff like that. Now they can feel like they're part of that group that is supporting the streamer, without spending any money and just spending their time. And the fact that it's a weekly payout is pretty wild.
Yeah, that's really nice. And like, it goes back to what you just said about Mixer just constantly coming out with new ideas and pushing things. So I think the system's really cool. And I hope that Twitch does something like that. Like you said, people can do it with like point system bots, but it can't be built into the platform. So
no.
But that's the rundown on Sparks. Hopefully it makes sense. Next question is from Impending Duff. It said, what benefits do you see potentially for creative folks like me in Mixer versus Twitch?
I think that the market is wide open, and I think it's going to be a tough road. There's a creative category.
Okay.
I think there's going to be a tough road ahead of you, but think about the people that started doing creative on the gaming platform, aka Twitch. When this started, you know, that wasn't a thing people came here to watch. There wasn't a community around it. You have the chance, in my opinion, to take that risk and make yourself the front and center of creative over there. The only creative streamer I know of over there off the top of my head is actually, it's a music streamer, but she plays acoustic covers, I think, and stuff like that. And she was recently in the Mixer commercial. That's how featured she is. And she doesn't play games. She plays music.
Wow. So yeah,
the opportunity is there.
That's really cool. Like, it's, again, like you said earlier, moving to a platform like that might be more risky, but you have that chance of becoming that de facto streamer on the platform in a certain category. So maybe it's worth the risk. You know, it depends on where you want to go with your stream.
First to content is huge. We say that all the time. First to content is what makes you grow. And
definitely helps.
Being first to content over there would be a thing. If you're the problem, what I find with creative streams over there is the ones I have just dipped in to look real quick and see what they're like. They're much like here. It's top down on whatever you're working on with the camera on your face, but they're not consistent. I don't see the same creative streamers streaming creative Monday through Friday or on a schedule. They're just random times you'll see these creative streamers and then you don't see them anymore. And I think it's that defeatist, oh man, you know, I streamed to no viewers this time when I was streaming to 20 on Twitch. I mean, my first stream on Mixer was lively, but that was because it was the very first one and people came over from Twitch and I had that base already. My second stream on Mixer, I had 3 viewers. And I can tell you that it's a little bit of a shake to your core when, you know, you go from that average on Twitch to that and you're like, whoa, whoa, whoa. You're like, did I make the right choice? And you have to really get through that mental end of it where you're so trained to think about numbers because of the way Twitch is, that, you know, Twitch is so number focused from day one when you start that, oh, this is how you get affiliate. Oh, this is how you get partner. Oh, hit this achievement, hit this achievement. They video gamified streaming. And Mixer never mentions your numbers. Their analytics system is actually butt cheeks in comparison when it comes to stuff like that, because they don't make it easy for you to see your average viewers. You have to do like some math or have a separate bot because it's not about average viewers. It's not for them. They judge content based on, you know, professionalism of your content, how much work you put into it. If you're truly good for the brand, aka Mixer, you know, and they hit there's numbers for like followers and stuff just to make sure that you're not just some random guy who came over and applied for partnership. You've established yourself. You've put the time and the work in. So
yeah, absolutely. Good question. Thank you for that one. We're running short on time. It's going really quick today.
Sorry.
Pandyroo EXE says, would you say that variety streaming has a better outlook on Mixer versus Twitch?
Variety streaming is always the harder road. Always. Because you could be, you know, mildly entertaining and decent at Fortnite and do really well over there. I've seen some people who are exactly that at a very, very high level on Mixer right now, where I'll go in and watch their content and they're not really interactive. They're not really that fun. And they're really not that great at Fortnite, but it's just what people like to watch. And you can do that, but as everybody can see, even from Twitch right now, Fortnite is on the downturn. It is not on the uprise anymore. So variety is definitely helpful over there. People actually, you're better off. I will say you're better streaming variety on Mixer only because there's not a lot of it right now. And it's the same thing with the creatives. There might not be a category for it live right now. Like if I go and look at creative on Mixer, it's probably at 0. But that doesn't mean people aren't looking for that content. It just means that nobody's streaming it. And that's what puts a lot of people off. Like, I streamed The Last of Us last week. There was no one streaming it. And organically, I had 15 to 20 people in my stream. And I was the only person streaming the game. So that's 15 to 20 people that came, you know, with the handful that probably came to watch me, but 15 or 20 people that came to see Last of Us be streamed, but just nobody else was streaming it. So by default, I'm the one they have to go to if they want to watch that content, which allows me to hopefully grab the retention of that person and make them enjoy themselves so much that they stay around no matter what I'm playing.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Another good question. Thank you for that one. Who is that again? Pandy Roo. Good question. A couple more questions here. A way of time. Next one is from, I think it was from Truey. What do you think about indie games on Mixer? Kind of similar question there.
I think indie games have a real good niche. There's a partner over there, I think, that only played retro games. And that, you know, everything has that niche. And the thing with Mixer and the beauty of Mixer right now is that you have that opportunity to be the first to content. You have the opportunity to be the person that this is, you know, oh, do they stream indie games on Mixer? Oh, Truey does. Truey's the indie game streamer on Mixer. Like, that is the actual opportunity that there is right now. Like, when you say, oh, variety streamers on Twitch, what's the first person most people will say to you? Carnage. He's the guy that does variety on Twitch. So it's, you know, you say, who's the Fortnite streamer on Twitch? It's Ninja.
Right.
You know, you have the opportunity, in my opinion, to be that breakout person for the platform, to where you solidify your foothold and you can be the, you know, the retro streamer or the indie streamer over there.
Absolutely. Yeah. That is such a compelling argument, in my opinion, because it's like Snoop said earlier, if you guys missed it, like, you have the two options if you're on Twitch. If you've built a solid community, you have the option of slowly growing, and maybe you get to a point where you grow a little bit more, maybe like 100 viewers or something, but you're very unlikely to ever really break into that top streamer position. Whereas on Mixer, it's more risky, but you have that chance to really push and be that de facto streamer on the platform, be in that top 10, 5, 1%. So that's kind of a decision you have to make, but it might be worth it if you feel like that's something you could do. It sounds like what Snoop said, he's going for it. So I definitely respect that. Cool. So we're over 12 o'clock right now. Do you have a couple more minutes to talk, or are you good to go? Okay.
I think it's 12:30ish.
Okay, yeah. I'm going to do a couple more in the chat while we still have questions.
Yeah.
One from Levine again. Hope I said that right, Levine. Is there any transparency/news on how Microsoft will or can deepen their support for Mixer? Do you know anything about that?
I mean, so the cool and interesting thing about Mixer is that all of their partners are told and preview features prior to them being released. But none of them can talk about it because you're under an NDA from Microsoft when you become a Mixer partner. But they have a full partner Discord where they discuss options, what they think is going to happen, if they think things should be tweaked, and so on. And they are very receptive to what partners suggest, because the partners are the forefront of it. You know, they know what their communities are looking for. And on average, they figure out, you know, what they're trying to do and how they're trying to get there. So Mixer's transparency, or Microsoft's transparency on their plans for Mixer, I don't know if they're exactly transparent, but if you look at what they're doing currently, I mean, they've doubled down on gaming and streaming as a whole, as a company. I mean, look how much money they've invested into gaming this year with buying up these companies and literally telling these companies they have a blank check to make video games. You know, it's crazy. So they're doubling down on this stuff being successful right now. So I think if there's any time to get in on it, it's now, because Microsoft is going to push Mixer hugely in the next year because they need it to succeed, to justify investing the money. I mean, look at Sparks. You know, we talk about Sparks. Mixer's not making any money on Sparks. They're losing money on Sparks. Mm-hmm. They're paying out partners weekly. Some partners are making $900 a week from Mixer with absolutely no return revenue for them. And they don't even run ads yet.
Yeah, I guess the only benefit is, you know, they get that inflated average people watching the platform.
Oh, yeah.
So they can give that to advertisers.
Exactly. They're getting traffic for future advertisement, for sure.
Yeah. For sure. But I agree. I mean, Microsoft definitely has the resources to push Mixer a lot. And if they continue doing what they've been doing so far with the YouTube ads and maybe even TV ads in the last couple months or so, it's going to be a lot of people going to Mixer pretty soon. So I agree. Definitely a good time to get in now before it gets really saturated. Because again, streamers are pretty even right now. They're not really increasing on Mixer, but viewers are hard. So that streamer number won't stay flat for long if they keep advertising. It's a good time to get in. Agreed. Okay. Last question I saw was from Memory Card about streaming on both platforms. I think it got answered in the chat, but that's a pretty black and white answer. You can't stream. You can't multi-stream if you're a Twitch streamer. That's an affiliate. You can't stream at all on Mixer if you're a Twitch partner, as far as I know. And if you're on Mixer, you can multi-stream on Twitch. That's kind of confusing, but basically Twitch restricts you, Mixer doesn't. Hopefully that is an easy way to put it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, all right. I think that is all the questions I see for today. Oh, last one from Ray. How do you become a partner on Mixer? You want to break that down real quick?
Yeah, so Mixer's partnership application is a little bit different than Twitch's. I forget the exact numbers, but it's like 12 unique days streamed in a month. I forget how many hours, but it's not crazy. It's not, a wild number. It's 2,000 followers, and your account has to be at least 2 months old. That is the requirements for applying for partnership. Now, once you apply, they do what they call the partnership quality review, where they review your content and everything like that, and they look for professionalism. They look for your, having a consistent brand and everything like that, your accountability, and they look for good content, essentially. Kind of like what Green does with sponsorship. It's almost just like that. Like there's the base requirements, so you're not just some random person throwing in an application, but it's more so it's quality over quantity. And the other thing they tell you is like they do look at your CCU, but they look at your concurrent viewership in comparison to other people that stream things like you do. So similar content. So they're not putting me up against the Fortnite streamer who averages 200 viewers a stream. They're putting me up against the person that does web shows. And they essentially tell you the best way to track your content in comparison to what we're going to look for is while you're streaming at like the middle or peak of your stream, pull up the category you're in and see where you sit. You should be, if you're applying for partner, they suggest that you should be in the top 2 rows of whatever category you're streaming to.
Yeah, that's a really cool system. Do you meet the requirements for the baseline yet? I guess the follower count would be the trickiest one.
The follower count is the only thing I don't hit right now. I'm just shy of 500 in a little over a month.
Wow.
But I mean, people like Jim Watts, man, Jim has been putting in the time. I wish, I had more time to stream, but Jim has been crushing it and he's reaping the rewards. He's at like 1,300 followers in just over 2 months. So.
That's so awesome. Yeah, I know it seems like from what I've heard, there's a pretty big follow inflation, or just people follow a lot on Mixer compared to Twitch. So
yeah, so it's definitely a follower inflation. But then again, I mean, think about Twitch. My channel was at 1,500 followers or just shy, and I averaged 30 to 40 viewers. I mean, even right now, we're at what, almost 9,000 followers in the True channel, and we're not anywhere near 9,000 viewers.
Right.
It's not, it's not the knock. It's just the thing that if you look at the comparison, the follower numbers are always going to be inflated. It's just,
that's true.
It tends to be a quicker thing over there, especially if you're a Fortnite streamer and stuff like that. But they're very empty follows.
Right. I think the difference is that there's actually something to be gained from the follower count on Mixer versus, on Twitch, the follower count doesn't really get you anything.
It gets you affiliate.
That's true. That's true. It gets you the initial affiliate.
Again, it's only 50.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I didn't really. But like, it's a pretty big factor in applying for partnership. Again, I can't imagine they're like, oh, well, this guy only has 2,001 followers. We can't admit him, But it does mean a little bit more, I would guess, on Mixer. So I would guess that inflation helps that a little bit sometimes. I think
it's more for them just to have that kind of making sure you're an established person and you're not just somebody who, just randomly decided to try out Mixer today, had a good stream and applied,
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. All right. Sodomi asked, would you want Mixer to monetize non-partners? You broke it down already. You're not a big fan of an affiliate program on Mixer. So
we talked about this on After Dark last night. I exploded about that.
Gosh. Yeah, well,
don't ruin my platform.
Right. Okay, last little question here for you. I know we're running short on time. I did want to ask this though. Again, you kind of sparked this revolution with you moving to Mixer since you made your move. How do you kind of feel about that? Like, what has that experience been like, sort of being the leader of this movement?
It's kind of surreal. Like I had mentioned before, what this swap for me has made me notice more than anything is that I have some type of influence. And it's just kind of wild. It still doesn't like, I'm still mind blown that I get viewers a lot of the time because I don't find myself all that entertaining or, you know, all that successful a lot of the time. So I'm very self-critical. And I just, when people were like, they were DMing me, and grant you, I got some pretty good DMs and I got some pretty wild DMs from people that I didn't expect to get wild DMs from, telling me that I was out of my mind and stuff like that. But, you know, it's just, go ahead.
Now, I was gonna say, have you gotten a lot of questions from people about moving to Mixer and just Mixer questions in general?
So many. It's insane. And I don't get, I don't know what it was. I don't know what kind of sparked everybody doing it. Maybe because I was very open about it and I had no problem talking to people. I had no problem helping people out or directing people. Maybe that was why. But maybe because in the grand scheme of things, I don't consider my Twitch, tenure a success. I think I was pretty below average in numbers. So it's not, anything crazy. I had decent growth in a year and I'm not knocking it or anything like that. But what I'm saying in the grand scheme of the website, it's not like I was sitting at, some crazy numbers and was like, nah, I'm out, So It was just kind of.
It's interesting to me that you sort of become this little expert on Mixer over the past couple months. It seems like you're like the go-to guy for Mixer questions. So that's just kind of cool.
It's awesome. And I'm really glad that it's getting people at least talking about it and to check it out. And like the biggest thing I tell everybody that asks me about, I have to lose. What are you giving up by leaving Twitch? If you're somebody that does this full time and this is your job and you make a decent living and this is how you do it, then yes, I don't think that you should make that jump unless you can make that jump and have a few months of savings to back you up, and hopefully you get partner or hope that your community comes over and they still support you through, outside sources of revenue like a Patreon or PayPal. But if you're like me or like majority of the people that have affiliate on Twitch, yeah, you might make some decent money. You might not make any money. You might have never hit a Twitch payout. You might make thousands of dollars a month. What are you giving up to go over to Mixer? First of all, Twitch is going to be here if it all falls apart and you don't enjoy it and you don't like it. But at the end of the day, it doesn't hurt you to check this content. What do you have to lose? You're not Ninja. You're not even the mid-level partner like DM Brandon or guys like that who average 1,000 viewers. You're not there. You're not that person. If you're considering that move, you're not there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the God's honest truth. And, people talk about big partners that have moved, like Renee moved over there, but they were paid to move. So don't get it twisted that they went over there and left a 500,000 person following and 1,000 person average and 1,000 subs to just go over to Mixer because they were tired of Twitch. Yes, obviously they had some discontent for Twitch, but they also got paid.
Right. You can't factor that out for sure. Even people who say it wasn't about the money, there's always someone about.
If it wasn't about the money, you would have taken the check.
Exactly. Yep. Okay, last question I saw from Pandy Rude. This is a quick answer. Mm-hmm. Should someone that just started on Twitch without a huge following consider trying Mixer for a bit?
Yes,
definitely say so.
Absolutely.
Yep. That's like the best time to do it, basically, because you have nothing to lose at all at that point. So why not? Cool. All right, well, that is going to be the end for the podcast today, guys. So thank you so much for coming out. And thank you to Snoop for coming on here and doing this interview on his move to Mixer. Snoop, anything you want to say to people who want to check you out on Mixer or any kind of stuff you want to say?
It is SnoopHogTV on all the things. So it's mixer.com/SnoopHogTV. You can check me out on YouTube. It's SnoopHog. It's SnoopHog on Twitter and Instagram. And I don't know if there's any other social media. I think I have a Facebook. I don't use it. Don't bother. The other thing I want to make the quick announcement for those of you that didn't get to see it last night. Last night was the last episode of Stream Key After Dark.
F's in the chat.
Now don't fear. Don't fear. I clickbaited that a little bit. It is the last episode of Stream Key After Dark. It will not have Stream Key's name attached to it anymore. We are actually going to continue to do this. We're going to do it bi-weekly on Wednesday nights at 12:30. It will be on my channel and Miss Fatal Kiss's channel. We're going to co-stream every other Wednesday, and it's going to be Mixer After Dark. And we are going to treat it much like Phone in Friday still, where you can come in, ask questions and stuff like that, but we're going to broaden the spectrum of things we talk about. It's not going to be just streaming focused or just Mixer focused. It's going to be focused on all the platforms, but it's also going to be focused on other things people are interested in, like video games and stuff like that. And the reasoning behind it is very simple. It's while I love doing like Phone in Friday and it works very, very well on Twitch, it's because there are so many people on Twitch trying to learn how to stream. Mixer doesn't have that yet, so it's kind of hard to just gear content towards that. So we don't want to alter what Stream Key stands for by keeping the name and changing the content. So we're going to rebrand it as a whole.
Right. And like you said earlier, there's just less content on Mixer right now, especially talk shows and that kind of thing. So Snoop kind of has a chance here to be the standout podcast on Mixer. So I'm pretty excited for it. And I feel like a proud little parent. It's like you're graduating, going on to your own show now. But
I do appreciate the Stream Key support, though.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, he's not going anywhere. He's still doing the same show, basically, just with more stuff in it. So make sure to check him out. And we'll probably release that as a new podcast under the TRUgaming stuff, too, if you're down with that. So
totally
cool stuff. All right, well, that's going to do it for us, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I guess we'll raid someone quickly after this. Quick news announcement. There will be no Phone in Friday tomorrow because we're building our brand new studio all day. And I have to work on that because eventually that podcast has to go out of there. So we can't do that, and Vel's feeling a little sick. So come back next week for more Stream Key. And I don't know if Snoop's going to do the same exact time for Mixer After Dark, but...
Yep. Everything's going to stay the same with the exception of the name and the branding.
Okay, so you can check that out next week too. We will see you guys later, and stick around for a little raid at the end. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you later.
Love you guys. Bye.